All right. So let's talk about this then. Let's talk about Predator, the franchise. Predators was the third movie in the franchise. They go to a game preserve planet. They don't go there. They get stolen, kidnapped, and they go there. That movie was supposed to kick off a trilogy of films. Did you know this at all?
I
Because
did
I did
not.
not.
I had no idea.
Yeah, this was news to me. It dropped a few days ago now. And I was quite surprised, to be honest. It's quite interesting. So we've got the co-writer Michael Finch here revealing a lot of stuff about a cancelled trilogy. So we're going to go through it and just going to get your thoughts. But first and foremost, have we all watched Predators? Yes.
Yes. Yes.
I did not see the most recent one. No.
No, it's not the most recent one. That's Prey. Predators is the third one.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't see that one either. Then.
Okay. All right. Culture, have you seen it? I'm guessing no. You didn't say anything.
Oh no, I said. Well, I was nodding my head. Yes. Why did you do
Yeah.
that?
Okay. What did you guys think of it? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? What's your thoughts on it?
I thought it was all right. Who's the guy?
It's Adrian Brody.
Yeah, Adrian Brody, and then who's the Lawrence Fishburne? Yeah, his character. He was a nut in that movie. But yeah, I thought it was cool and interesting. I like how they used the original Predator design for the alien in the forest.
Yeah.
Well, it was kind of a star-studded film. I mean, it had
Walton Goggins.
Walton Goggins was in it. Yeah.
Ali.
Yeah, and Topher Grace from That 70s Show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. I thought it was fine. It felt a little uneven to me. But a lot of those.
Well, we'll go into that actually because there's some stuff which they had to change.
Oh,
that's
okay.
why I think. I quite like Predators, to be honest. It's not a bad film.
No,
I think it's all right. It's got some issues here and there, but I quite liked it. But let's take a look at this because this is quite interesting. It reveals some of those things that you're saying. Well, I felt a bit uneven. So we'll just scroll through some of this. So basically, this guy opens up. The writer starts revealing stuff. He says, "We wanted to flip the paradigm a little bit, and we desperately wanted to expand the canon. It had sort of gotten stuck in a death spiral." Talking about the franchise, they come to Earth. You don't really learn anything particularly new about them. It's not the story. It's not the characters. It's just now, can the filmmakers make the kills more gruesome and interesting? It became base horror, and we wanted to do something a little bit different. Quite like this approach, to be fair. So what their new thing that they were going to be doing was there was going to be a civil war going on between super predators and ordinary predators. So we know that because that's in the movie anyway. But they say this: while they were able to touch on this narrative thread a little bit in the film, budgetary restrictions precluded the production, which had Robert Rodriguez on board as producer, from moving forward on the screenplay's original climax in outer space. So it's going to have a completely different ending. It was going to feature a battle or a big firefight in space. So again, that's probably why it feels a bit like, a bit disjointed.
Huh.
That would have been cool. To see Predator ships like fighting in space and stuff.
Well, it'd be good to see what they can actually do, right? Because they're hyper sophisticated technology wise. We don't really see what they do. So it'd be good to see what their ships do. But check this out. So undeterred, however, the two writers tackled a significant rewrite over the course of a single day, adding in Lawrence Fishburne's character. He was written in a day.
That's amazing.
Huh.
Yeah. It's quite good, to be fair.
It's amazing because it didn't seem like
not
it
bad.
was. Yeah. Didn't. That's amazing.
Not bad.
No.
And it says this: another unrealized hope was to have Arnold Schwarzenegger reprise his role as Dutch and kick off a trilogy of films that would have culminated in a visit to the Predator's planet of origin.
See, that sounds awesome.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
Why would you not kick off with Arnold? Like, if you're going to bring Arnold back to Predator, why would that not be the first movie? Like, that would immediately reinvigorate everybody.
They reveal it in here, but everyone in the chat saying or thinking, watching this, whatever, going, well, Arnold's too old. He wouldn't have been at the time, actually, to be fair. He would have been quite spry at the time.
It was 2010, right? He wasn't still the governor back then, was he?
Yes, he was. So
that explains it.
That's the reason why. So it says this: per Finch, the team really wanted Schwarzenegger to make an MCU-style cameo right after Royce beheads the Super Predator in hand-to-hand combat. Quote, a ship lands, smoke comes out, predators start walking out. You're entirely fucked. You don't have a chance. You're out of ammunition. You're bleeding. You've got a stick in your hand. These guys are coming out. The smoke clears, and one of them pulls off his helmet, and it's Schwarzenegger. He's part of that clan now. By virtue of the fact that he had beaten the Predator in the first film, and he'd become very interesting to the Predators, and he had been taken and become one of them, essentially. Now,
that I like.
If you think that's dumb, which maybe you do, maybe you don't, there's a precedent for that in the comics. There's a character called Machiko Noguchi that does exactly that, and becomes part of the clan. So there is a precedent for it in the expanded media that is well loved. I think that's quite a cool idea, to be honest.
I do too. I think the one thing about the Predators that I've always enjoyed is that there's a sense of honor to them, like not attacking if you're unarmed, things, and it is very possible.
Children, pregnant women,
exactly.
Yeah,
it's very possible to win their respect. So I think that would have been amazing to see, and it would also explain why we've never seen Arnold again in a Predator movie. After he beat the first one.
So it says this: unfortunately, the mythical action star was too busy serving as governor of California at the time, and the plan never gained much momentum. Nevertheless, Finch and Litvak still had big plans for the next two installments. So the second of which was going to take place on a mothership orbiting the atmosphere above the game preserve planet. Quote, the only way to escape is to fight their way out. So they have to take control of the ship. It was going to be in space and keep expanding the lore of the Predators in general and start establishing a clan structure. From the outside, they appear to be the same, but their attitudes and cultures are very different from the inside. I quite like the sound of that.
Me too.
Yeah.
They should do this now. Why are we not doing this now?
I'll take this over the Predator versus Skinny Girls.
Let's do this now. Can we go and revisit this idea? I like this. Let's go that direction.
Well, it gets better. I actually love the sound of this third movie. The third entry would have brought audiences to the Predator homeworld, which was briefly glimpsed in AVP Requiem. Quote, we never really got there, but we were thinking of modeling it on ancient Rome with gladiatorial combat, internecine warfare, native clans on the outside, and more established ones on the inside. Mostly, we wanted to show a civilization that was crumbling under its own weight. They had evolved so far, they'd conquered everything in a weird way and were sort of collapsing under their own weight. I think that's great.
Yeah,
it's awesome. The thing I like about this is they're taking it in a very masculine way, like ancient Rome. Who doesn't love it? Well, what guy doesn't love ancient Rome? As opposed to trying to modern day it the way we've seen in the recent past. Look at the first Predator movie. You got Arnold Schwarzenegger, Carl Weathers, Jesse the Body Ventura in a jungle. Fighting an alien. It is the most machismo movie that has ever existed. That is the core soul of this franchise, and this would have fed right into that.
Yeah, I also think that that's quite smart. You have native, unevolved sort of clans on the outside of this civilization, and then you've got established ones living inside Rome. This sort of Roman-like structure. I think that's wicked. And this whole thing of like a civilization crumbling under its own weight, that's very Romanesque, right? It's very Rome-esque. They become very navel-gazing. They stop really worrying about things, and then the whole thing just starts to collapse in on itself.
We might see like some fat predators eating too much.
I don't think it's that, but you know what I mean. It's just, they stop sort of worrying about stuff, and thus the civilizational collapse comes. So it says this: what's more, we learned that the super predators were juicing themselves with the genes from the most badass species across the universe. Obviously, that's a concept which was then taken for the Predator, but this was what they wanted to do. they pick and choose the baddest opponents that they can find, and if they're worthy, they take their DNA, separate those things that make them dangerous, and implant them in their own DNA to improve themselves. The idea was that there had been a dramatic escalation in predator evolution through science, and that there were going to be side effects of that. It's be careful what you wish for, in a sense, like sort of body horror-esque. I love that. I think it sounds great.
Yeah, I do like that, and I could see that being like at odds with the actual predator, because I would think that a predator might almost find that the majority of them would find that dishonorable. You know, you're not earning your strength here,
war, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
I love it. I think it's great. So what do you think, Culture? You've not really said too much.
I want this now. Let's make this now. Let's do this now. I mean, it's very simple to me. This is another thing why I think that we could have gotten some more interesting Alien versus Predator stuff down the road. I mean, to make them an interstellar clan-based species that, you know, it has little to fear, and then they finally come across, you know, humans, and now maybe there's another adversary that's worthy. I mean, and to look at that kind of a structure and that kind of a, you know, a government and the collapse that's described in here, I think there's a lot to be served. And I think having a pre-planned structure for Trilogy was probably a really good plan. And I think that that's the way a lot of studios should approach a lot of these kinds of top-level sci-fi projects. Is like, we need to make this one and then the next one. You know, we have another subject we're going to talk about today that kind of feeds into this idea. And I think that it saves the studio a lot of catch-up work if a film works that they want to make a franchise of. They already have kind of a pathway beginning to end, at least for 3 films, and that kind of informs where you're going to go with the next part too. So I feel like if we could get this now, it would kind of rescue the I don't really care, you know, kind of vibe in me about the upcoming Predator thing that following Prey, to be fair.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Fair enough. Thoughts, the rest of you guys? I mean, I've given my thoughts as we went along, but what about you guys? Love this, hate it? What do you reckon? Anything else to add?
I love it. Like Culture said, I wish they would just get on this project and start doing this now. And I read a lot of the Dark Horse comics back in the day, and they kind of hinted at a lot of this stuff, these concepts in the comics, and I just wish they would just bring it to the big screen and do this. But I mean, Predators, that movie, I don't know if the studios have really lost a whole lot of money on the Predator franchise.
No, Predators did reasonably well, to be honest.
Yeah, the budgets for the movies aren't, you know, super inflated. I would love this. You know, I guess we'll see what this next Predator movie does, and where they go with the franchise after this. But yeah, I like these concepts and these ideas.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Should we move on from this? We're all good. I think we'll move on from this now.